Right, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our Read TV podcast, and today we will be discussing life in secondary school and, more importantly, your GCSEs. What's more fitting than discussing your GCSEs today as they are upon you? What we want today is an open discussion. We want you to be really, really open about the challenges that you face, about possibly even your social life and the thoughts and the issues you faced during revision time for preparation for your GCSEs. Now, this video is going to be shown worldwide, inshallah, and we want it to be beneficial to parents so they can get an insight to what their children are facing and the problems that they face. It's not often that you can have such conversations with your parents and be open, but I'm going to ask, and we have asked already, for absolute honesty, absolute faith in the understanding that this knowledge will be passed to parents so they can get an insight, not to yourselves, but to the world of boys today and then later on girls, of the issues that they're facing in and around studying, revision, the distractions that you have and everything else that you have. So we're going to open by speaking to anybody who would like to discuss the issues that you face. What we'll start off with the distractions that you have. So what are the common distractions that you guys face when you are at home now? And we'll talk about school later on possibly, but at home, starting to revise or preparing for your GCSEs, before we go into the content and the revision styles and techniques that you should have, let's discuss just the distractions. Let's discuss the distractions first. We'll start with you and we'll discuss the distractions that you face, and be honest and be genuine about it. When you're in your room and you're about to start to revise, tell me the problems you face.
Well, in this digital age, everyone knows that the main distraction is, of course, media. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is. As soon as you sit down, start revising, after 10 minutes, of course, you get an intrusive thought. Why don't you just check that notification that popped up?
So
Yeah,
do you hear the notification popping up?
yeah, of course, and it comes up in the system as well. So it's a very common way of. I think that's the main distraction, to be honest.
And how often? Oh, so these are notifications. You're not talking about direct communication. What you're saying
Now,
is,
this is not talking about talking with friends, talking with other people. This is like videos alone. Whoever you subscribe to, whoever you got notifications on, notifications will come up whenever they post new content.
so this could be within the thousands.
Yeah, thousands. Any form of social media, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, anything.
So if you're a subscriber to this, you'll get a notification when somebody has done something. So this is not bound to your friends. This is now open to the world.
Yeah.
So you have got yourself now open to the world of distractions, and you get a ping, which is a notification telling you that something's been uploaded.
Of course, all the time. This is even alone talking to friends and other notifications. And the other distraction, of course, is when you get a message from your friends. We are in the middle of revising, and say for example a friend sends a message. You always want to go talk to them instead of focusing on the revision. So along with media, basically overall digital devices create a large distraction.
So we've got phones, you've got not just direct communication with your friends, you've got notifications, and just the whole social media platform in itself being an absolute distraction by direct distraction. So we're talking about a ping, we're talking about direct messaging you to let you know, look at the phone, look at what's going on.
Yeah.
Anything different, or do you guys agree, or have you got anything else to say regarding that?
Yeah, I have to say when I'm trying to revise, I'm looking for any excuse to look to do something else. So
So have you guys never thought of putting your phones away?
Well, me personally, for a long time, being honest, I haven't had the phone, and I think since I got rid of it, I've been much more productive.
Okay.
Without digital devices, the productivity goes up. I do have a PlayStation at home, but I leave that to the weekend.
Okay.
Late
Boys,
at night.
boys, about you, sir. You've got your phone still in person. Are you being distracted by this? He seems to have understood the problems with it, and he's now dedicated to putting his phone away. Now, we're talking about a guy who, mashallah, is achieving high predicted results, and we're very confident that he's going to do well in his exams. What is your battle? Do you still have your phone there as a distraction to him?
Yeah, I always have my phone on me as like it's like something that's like part of me now. Like it's always with me. Like these new social media, like TikTok, Instagram, all of these apps are like something that everyone's always on. So it's like a way of distraction from revising. When I start revising, I lose concentration when and my phone comes and stuff.
So how hard is it for you to move away from that, to put it away? Have you not thought about it? Have you not had made that decision in your life? And do you think that's a viable decision to make, to actually just be rid of that one absolute distraction that's in your life?
Yeah, I have tried before, and like slowly you get better at it, but like it's a hard thing to fight.
Right. Okay. Hayan, what can you get away from the phone?
So the thing with me is, so nowadays procrastination is literally the number one distraction to get away from revision. And for me, it's literally the biggest factor. Every time I sit down, my mind is just on phone. You get notifications, like Omar said.
So I wouldn't call procrastination an absolute distraction. I think your phone is away from procrastination. I think you can procrastinate without the phone. So procrastination is when you can just start to imagine, you can just drift off into thoughts and everything else. So you've not only got that which you fight, which everybody's fought before, even without technology, you've got a direct pinging situation or a direct connection to all of your subscribers and your friends actively available from you. Then you've got procrastination, which we'll deal with, I think, in the next conversation, inshallah. But your phone and you, what is your relationship with it? Can you get away from it?
So the thing is, even when I try switching it off, the thought of the phone is just constantly in your mind. You can't forget about it. Like, I turn it off, put it in the other room, try to focus on revision, but I just keep getting like thoughts in my head. Or your friends are messaging you, or they're online on the PlayStation. Get online, you're missing out.
You feel like you're missing out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go on.
In regard to that, I think the best option, the best way to get rid of the phone is, I think, handing it to your parents. Because if they have it, you know you probably won't get it back, and they know it's for a good reason, so you'll be revising.
And how could you do that? How much strength do you think that would take to say, Mum, Dad, please take my phone, don't give it back to me? I mean, it sounds like an addiction. It sounds like a pandemic. It sounds like a problem. And for you, can you say, Mum, Dad, take my phone? Khalas, take it, give it back to me when I'm done.
That's pretty hard, that. Because I don't know, for me personally, when I have my phone with me, I feel a sense of comfort when I have my phone.
So it's an addiction, isn't it? So when you haven't got it with you, you're not right. You feel something's missing. Your mind's on it. When it's with you, you feel comfort because you feel connected.
Possibly, yeah.
As in, you feel like you're still a part of your social network. You feel connected.
And like Hayan said, when the phone's not with me, I'm always thinking, what am I missing out on? What's going on that I don't know
No,
about?
I think it's beautiful what you said, the sense of comfort, which just shows that it's an absolute part of you. It's an absolute addiction. And if it's not with you, but understanding that you're in the last 6 months of your education and people need to have discipline and people need to make sacrifices, I think it's important for us parents to understand what would make it easier for you to make such sacrifices so that you can have a deep focus, because revision is deep focus. If you're going to start revising, you can only learn when you're in a deep focus, and to get to that state it takes time, and any distractions will take you away from that deep focus. So what is it that we as parents, as teachers, as adults can do to help you not feel discomforted without your phone?
Yeah, in regard to the phone, it's not a personal effort, it's a group effort. You have to engage and encourage everyone else to not use their phone, to focus on revising, and then you'll be encouraged yourself. Get your parents into it, get your family into it. Say your friends, in the weekdays, don't text me.
Like a pact.
Yeah.
You can make a pact with your friends.
Like a pact. Everyone works together. One
Right.
goes down, we all go down.
Right, so you, mashallah, alhamdulillah. So you love for your brother what you love for yourself. And if you could
Exactly,
talk and say, guys, we need to revise. Let's make a pact. In the weekdays, let's not communicate. I'm not going to be calling you, or I'm not going to be discussing it with you, so you're not missing out on anything. So then that pact would be substantial and will have an impact. Do you think that that's something that
100%.
would work?
Yeah.
So we should, as parents, or even you guys watching or anybody watching, should maybe discuss with their friends, guys, let's make a pact that we're not going to use our phones or communicate in the after school hours, so that then you won't feel like you're missing out because you're all in it together, right?
Yeah.
There you go. That's one solution. So one solution is make a pact with your friends. And then would you give your phone to your parents to say safekeeping? Are you happy to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy
Right.
to give my phone to my parents whilst I revise, but as long as I get it back after I'm done with the revision.
Okay, we understand.
Everyone deserves a balance. They should have a balance.
We'll come on to balance, inshallah, as well. So you're saying that one thing with your friends, make a pact that, look, we've got GCSEs upon us. Let's not communicate after school hours in the weekdays. Let's put our phones away. And you'll feel some sort more comforted to know that your friends are also doing the same thing that you are. So you're going through the same struggle. And this is what this conversation is about. It's about the struggles you face and how we can defeat these struggles. And it's not just a small struggle. To me, it sounds like an addiction. To me, it sounds like a part of your life, which gives you comfort, essentially. So, number one, make a pact between your friends to put the phones away after school hours and not communicate with each other and wait for school to have your communication. Yes?
Yes.
Right. Now let's move on to the phones now being gone. Let's move on to what other screens and devices you have and are they a distraction? And after that, we'll talk about procrastination, which is something that can happen without any devices. So devices now, other devices, not mobile phones. Are laptops a problem?
Depends, because with laptops you can revise from it, and you can also, it could also be a means of distraction as well, because you could still use the internet and these social media apps where like it helps with revision as well.
Right.
Yeah, to counter this problem, the other solution for this is when you're using the laptop for revision, do it in front of your parents. Do it where someone's scrutinizing you, someone's watching you, so you don't go and get distracted.
And this is why his predicted grades are so high, mashallah. He's got the answers for all. So you use your laptop in a public area.
Yeah.
So you know that you can have that. Is it timed or is it any use or any constraints upon that? Or is it just I would use my laptop downstairs in front of my parents so that I know it makes it easier for me to stay on task?
Yeah, when I study, I'm always downstairs. My parents can check what I'm doing. They know I'm revising. They trust me now.
Right.
So
You guys?
For me, yeah, I think technology is like it's the biggest distraction. All forms of technology can be PS4, phone, iPad, tablet, whatever. It's all, at the end of the day, it's all a distraction. Like, if you don't have your phone, you're just gonna wanna go onto the other device. So for me, it's more about your balance.
So the balance. Now, the important thing here is that one is you've got friends. Friends naturally, I understand, can be a distraction, but then you've got the world of the internet. So if your friends said to you, I'm not going to be online on my PS4, 5, whatever it is, I'm not going to be making no podcasts or not podcasts, sorry, videos or messages online. If you've got that comfort in your head that your friends are in the same struggle as you, would that make it easier?
Yeah.
Right.
Because it feels like everyone's going through they're going through the same route. So it's basically even, it's fair.
So
for
I
everyone.
think so. Revision alone being difficult enough as it is, I think we need to understand that the biggest distraction is technology and gadgets, and you are, and I believe you still are, focused on your friend group that are in your community, in your school, in your local area. They're still your friends, and the majority are your age, experiencing the same thing you are. So it will make it easier if you guys together make a pact and make a decision that you're not going to be using technology to communicate with each other after school hours. Right. And then the battle lies within yourselves. And that you can do, as Omar said, to have your laptops or your computers in front of your parents. Yes?
yeah.
Right. It sounds tough. It sounds tough. But together you win. And it's the biggest battle we're facing now. I mean, it's the distraction, it's the tools that are used to distract you, to program you, whatever it well may be. And I think that together you can beat this, and I think alone it becomes impossible. It could even be rude, I suppose. I mean, you telling him, don't call me, then you feel even more left out, right? And you won't like that. So I think that communication together as friends, as brothers or sisters, whatever it is vital. Shall we go on to procrastination? What is it? Okay, so now we're not talking about technology. We're not talking about gadgets. Where else does your mind go? Yeah, go on. Go for it.
So, for example, when you have a test coming up and you don't want to like revise, like you just keep procrastinating it. You keep thinking of tomorrow as like you have time tomorrow, the next day to revise, but that keeps happening every day, like every tomorrow.
So
You have
planning.
the same mindset.
So do you plan your revision?
Yeah.
And then you say you think you've got time, so you think I can just procrastinate, do nothing, and then just challenge it tomorrow. But in that time, in that procrastination time, barring the gadgets, what is it that you're thinking? What is it you just don't want to do it? What's the problem?
I'm not sure. It's like maybe like sleeping or like food, like all this stuff. It just distracts you from like wanting to revise. Because if you spend like 5 minutes away, then you're out of the zone completely. Like you're not gonna end up going back in the zone after a while.
And I think, like you said, food and diet has an impact as well. I think if you have a big dinner or a big lunch or whatever, maybe you might feel lethargic afterwards, and you might have a crash, and that's it. You're gone. So this is the kind of determination you need for revising. And I think this is what everybody, any listeners that are listening, need to understand, that not only is it your emotional, but it's also your physical health. It's also your diet. It's also your whole routine, how you come around revising, and your timetabling, and your thinking you've got time. I think these things need to be targeted, and I think having a timetable, but understanding you're flexible with it. So just say you go into a deep thought and you're enjoying your science revision, to stick with it. Go with it. Maybe I can change my timetable later on, but I think you need to eliminate all processes that can take your mind off of things. So like I said, maybe your dinner, have that in a timely fashion. Eat foods that are not high in sugar, high in carbohydrates, that you won't get a crash with, so you can stay focused and revise and go through it.
Yeah, low grades all comes down to one thing: the lack of planning. Planning how much you're going to revise, planning how long your break is, when you sleep, how much you eat. Like Sir said, that if you eat a big meal, you can't deny you might be a bit lethargic after. You might not have the will to revise like you did before. This is the main problem nowadays, to be honest. It's the planning. Sometimes people make a whole plan, they don't even abide to it.
Yeah,
They go fully
yeah.
off.
I
They
used to
take-
make plans. I used to
Yeah.
I used to spend an hour making a plan, and I used to not do something that particular day. My procrastination was just thinking. I didn't have gadgets, or even making doodles, or even making the plan was a form of my procrastination, because it made me feel better. And I would rip it up, change it again, draw the whole. I didn't have a computer then, so I done by hand. Draw the whole plan again, deading out the day that I missed, and it will just be a continuous vicious cycle. But so it's important to stick to a plan, and that takes, again, determination, that takes willpower, and I think that comes with strength, again, even physical strength. People who are actively seeking a healthy lifestyle have to have a balance, and you have to do things. So it's a struggle. Revising for your GCSEs is an absolute struggle, and you need to work together. You need your parents to be in hand. You need to be disciplined. And I think the word discipline is what I was trying to find in everything. Discipline in your timetable, in your diet, in your techniques, and in the distractions that you have. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you guys in regards to fighting the desires of the social media, of any distractions that get you off of your task, and may you strengthen together in winning this battle. So that being said, let's move on to the actual revision, exam revision techniques. So let's discuss now exam revision techniques.
So one more thing I wanted to add.
Go on.
just
No.
before- Is when it comes to exams, let's be honest, the last thing anyone wants to do is revise. Everyone's too lazy, everyone can't be bothered to revise. But when you think of it as a whole, you have to remember that you're not doing it for your teachers. At the end, it's not doing it for your parents. At the end, who's the results going to? It's going to you. It accounts for your future. It doesn't account for your parents' future. Of course, you might upset them, so you have to take that in your
Consideration.
into your considerations. Thank you.
No.
And yeah, but just remember that it's on your future. Your exams will base your A levels, your uni, your job in the future. Everything you do will go on to you.
I'll tell you what's a beautiful thing. So this year, obviously, you studied with me, we done business studies, and I made you sit your exam 1 year early. And there was a reason behind that. I wanted you to experience result day. Now, result day is a very lonely process, because you open the envelope and you see, and I wanted that to happen in year 10. So I wanted you to sit a few exams in year 10, just so you have the experience of opening up the envelope and seeing the envelope and saying, wow. And seeing the environment. You were very much alone. You celebrated that. Yes, for 5 minutes you were with your friends, only if they also passed. When your friend didn't pass, or he didn't do too great, the celebration wasn't uniform. It was kind of, oh, I feel bad for you. So it was a very lonely process. And I wanted you to experience that. And I wish that the listeners who haven't sat exams can understand that the day you open the results, just like Omar said, it's for you. It's for you. And yeah, of course, all the people, your teachers, your parents, everybody that helped you throughout the way. But essentially, it's for you. And it's a very, very lonely, nerve-wracking 1 minute of your life when you open the results and then you see it. And then that lasts for a lifetime, because that's your result and that's what you worked for. And that's a very lonely situation. You need to understand that you're working for yourself and all of your efforts are for you. And this is where, to a certain degree, you need to be selfish and put yourself first. Social media, social life, time, everything else needs to be put onto the back burner. And the front burner needs to be the door you need to open. GCSEs are tough, A-levels are tough. but it's what we have to do to open doors for opportunities to arise. And that's your challenge. The country you live in has set the challenge as GCSEs. You must pass them to enter the next level. So you need to be selfish, otherwise you won't be entering the next level, and those around you might be. So you need to understand that that key is down to you. Then results are down to you, and you need to put yourself first when it comes to your revision, inshallah. All right. Okay, so the next point is revising exams, best way to do it.
Okay, so for revision, there's many different techniques you can use. If it's active recall, if it's note taking, or whatever. But for me, what works the best for me is just get the textbook for something like science, English. Get the textbook, make notes on it, and just keep rereading the notes and just try memorizing and understanding the content. Maybe even go on YouTube. Try not to get distracted, and just watch videos, just understand the topics. And for more like other subjects like maths, just practice questions, past papers. And one thing I actually like to do, I forgot to mention, is working backwards. So while I get the past paper first, I attempt it. It doesn't matter what I get, even if I get 0. At least it shows me what I need to work on. Where my weaknesses and what subjects I need to, areas in the subjects I need to work on.
I think that's a really important point. So you said you walk backwards. So you do a past paper, and then you mark that. Would you mark that yourself?
Yeah, I'm using the mark scheme because the mark scheme is actually very important. I feel like a way to hit the 8s and 9s in GCSEs is to memorize and understanding the mark scheme.
Excellent. And this is exactly what we try to promote. So you'll do a past paper, you'll mark it using the mark scheme, you'll see the areas that you're weak in, the topics that you're weak in, and then you go back to your textbook or back to whatever it is that you use to attain knowledge on that particular subject. So you're saying notes, then exam questions, and then making sure you understand the mark scheme, or have sight of the mark scheme and use the mark scheme, and then see where you're weak and then go and improve on that.
Yeah.
Any other?
Similar to me, I start with making notes on the subject, then I try understand the subject to a point where I can explain it to someone else. Then I attempt questions on that subject, mark scheme, see where I went wrong, make a list of subjects where I went wrong, work backwards like he does, similar to that.
Same for you, to him.
First to make notes. But for me, when I make notes, I find it as a waste of time. I don't like to make notes. So the way I do it is I go straight into the past paper as my first thing.
Right.
Then I will do that. And then if I need to memorize anything, I will look at the syllabus or the mark scheme to memorize it, not with the textbook. Because I feel like there's too much content in there. And it's a waste of time to make notes summarize.
Excellent. That's time management also, because with the textbook you can have a magnitude of information which you need to decipher, and really it's about a minute a mark on the exam time. So the mark scheme is imperative because you know what the examiner is looking for. That's the toolkit. If you could, and I say to the students at our school, if you can understand the mark scheme and it doesn't look like gibberish to you, and you can see the mark scheme, you can decipher the mark scheme, you're looking, and it works for you, you're looking at higher levels, you're looking at 6s to 9s. If you can understand the mark scheme, even more than a 6 to be fair, I think you're in the A boundaries there. Understanding the mark scheme is imperative because it gets straight to the point, like you said. It's the information that you need, and it's what the examiners are looking for. So I think excellent advice into revision, and I think doing and understanding mark schemes is imperative, because what you're doing now, if you see your challenger is the examiner, and you look at his toolkit, he's only got, an examiner is anybody. There are many examiners in the world, just teachers that are new teachers that are not teachers no more. They get your exam paper, they mark your exam paper, and they go by the mark scheme. And if you understand the mark scheme, so you understand their toolkit, guess what? You understand what you're battling against. You understand what you need to write, how you need to write it, what they're looking for. And the majority of past papers, if you collate them, they're very similar in context. Very, very similar. So I totally agree, and I appreciate your advice on past papers, on mark schemes, on notes. And I also appreciate the fact that you're saying it's different for everybody. Notes are not right for you. Notes are right for yourself. And you've all got different techniques. What would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I thought I was personally the only guy who wasn't note taker, but now I found out that there's other people. I don't find notes, I don't think they help me. I'd rather what I do is look at what you said, the specification, the mark schemes exactly, and learn off of those. Because like you have to follow the concept of understanding the mark schemes. And if you might ask, what do you mean by understanding the mark schemes? What that means is, when you go into a science test, a science lesson, you have to become a scientist. You have to become a doctor in biology. You have to become a chemist in chemistry, a physician in physics, a mathematician in maths, all of these. You have to think like how an examiner. Just pretend you're the examiner when you're writing the paper. That's why you have to not memorize, understand word for word what the mark scheme is trying to say.
Excellent. Absolutely. I think that's fantastic. I think you guys, but I'll tell you what's interesting with what you said is you only found out now that there's another person that revises the way you revise. So that means you're not sharing your revision techniques with each other. Lack of communication. And this is why we're doing a podcast, for example, that this is important that other people know. You guys should really know, being in the same class, how you revise. These are the kind of conversations that you need to be having. We need to park any other conversations this year for the next 6 months. Park the trends, park the social medias, park the no value talk, and it all needs to be discussing your current aim, which is to absolutely obliterate the GCSEs by using the mark schemes or by using exam papers, and go in there and give it your best shot, inshallah. Inshallah. Again, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you, and may you all pass your exams, and may the distractions become nullified, and may you ace everything that you do, and may your experience and your journey towards getting your exams or your grades or your preparation shape you as an individual, and may that be beneficial for you in many, many years to come. Ameen. Ameen. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you very much, boys.
Perception, Read TV Podcast.